Hey guys, it's NPC here. So, Fridge Lady and Citrus Fruit's banner have been released on Global Blue Archive. In this video I thought I would take some time and discuss these characters and talk about reasons you will have if you want to pull for these characters, outside of those characters being your favorite of course. Firstly, I'll discuss their skills and talk about their viability. Then we'll go to my recommendations. And lastly, we'll just summarize everything else. Let's start off with Arisu. She is a mystic damage striker with a special armor type. She is placed in the back position and she's one of the first playable characters that uses a railgun. If we look at her stats, we can see that she has a really high attack stat, mainly because of the railgun, and for a back position character, her HP is actually kind of aligned with snipers, so kind of low, but it's okay. Moving on to her skills, Arisu's EX skill fires a large projectile in a straight line. This projectile pierces enemies and deals damage based on her energy charge levels. Her energy charge levels also reset after firing this ability. For her normal skill, Arisu gains a crit rate buff for 20 seconds every 25 seconds. The skill also increases her energy charge level by 1. Her energy charge levels cap at 2 levels. For her passive, Arisu gains 14 to 26% attack. The skill is generally pretty nice. There is nothing wrong with an attack stat increase, so overall a pretty good skill. Lastly, Arisu's sub-skill increases her crit rate by 12 to 22%. This skill activates when she uses her EX ability. This buff also lasts 20 seconds, and furthermore this effect is increased based on her energy charge levels. Arisu is one of those characters with a decent skill kit, but her strength gets cut due to her equipment. Her slot 3 equip is a charm which provides no real damage or critical rate or crit damage. This hinders her potential a lot, but her critical chance is saved due to her passives. Her slot 1 equipment also kind of helps her viability because the hat gives her a lot of crit damage and has the highest attack. Moving on to Yuzu. She is a penetration damage mid-striker who solely focuses on AoE damage. Looking at her stats, she's pretty average, there's nothing really special about it. Her attack is pretty decent, but that's about it. Yuzu's EX skill targets an enemy and fires a projectile dealing damage to them and the area around them. This skill is very similar to Aru's EX skill, minus the initial hit's damage, so think of it like the second portion of Aru's EX skill. Overall, it's an okay ability and a nice AoE. This kind of helps her a lot in raids like Chased or PvE. Yuzu's normal skill fires another projectile at the enemy with the highest attack power. This skill is essentially her EX ability but on a 25-second cooldown. Yuzu's passive skill increases her crit damage. The skill synergizes really well with her kit because she uses a clock for her slot 3 equipment. And lastly, Yuzu's sub-skill increases her crit damage whenever she uses an EX skill or a normal skill. This buff lasts 6 seconds and has pretty decent uptime due to it mainly being active during the important parts of her damage, i.e. her sub-skill and her normal skill. Yuzu is one of those characters who's really good but she feels like she's not necessary in the game. The biggest problem is that she's a penetration damage character, and in that category there are a ton of, let's say, AoE characters that exist. Mainly, a specific twin or like a free machine gunner. Overall, both these characters are kind of niche to pull for. Arisu is kind of the better choice in my opinion. I would probably pull for her over Yuzu, mainly because Arisu becomes meta during Perorozilla in JP Blue Archive. However, content before that, she doesn't really exist. In Shirokuro, you can use her, but the problem is her damage isn't that great and her EX skill is a 6 cost, and which is really expensive. Yuzu just feels bad to have. She's really useful in chase raids, and if you have her, she probably will carry you to the top 5k ratings. The biggest problem is investing in her feels really bad. She doesn't really shine anywhere else, and you don't really need her in anything besides Chased. However, Now that JP Blue Archive released New Year's Aru, I feel that Yuzu might have a bit more potential. We'll have to wait and see in a couple days to see if she's actually really good or not. But currently, I wouldn't really recommend pulling for her. In general, I don't think I would pull for any of these banners, because both of them will be added to the common pool after their banners end, and you might be able to spook them. If you really want to pull for one of them, I would suggest Iris. But at the end of the day, Blue Archive is a game. And well, if you want a character, just pull for them. There's nothing really wrong about pulling in this game. They're really generous with giving out gems, so if you really want them, make an attempt, try to get them. But if you're trying to push for top 5k or platinum trophies, you might want to consider Iris. But you can also use Bunny Karen later on, which is essentially the same as Iris. It's all just personal preference, I think. If you made it to the end of this video, please like and subscribe for more Blue Archive content. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.